What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source for combat sports. I'm your host, Adam the Postmaster Tomorrow, and today I have a gear review on the T6 MMA Sparring Gloves by RDX. Alright folks, as always, I'm incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review, as today I have a pair of MMA Sparring Gloves for you by RDX. We have the T6 model by RDX. I'm really excited to do this review because about 2 months ago I did an unboxing of these gloves, as well as some other RDX gloves and Sparring Gloves in general that will be coming out soon. But these gloves I was excited to do because a lot of my teammates continue to use these and have used these in the past and said that they were worried about the durability of the glove, that this padding, felt frail and that the stitching came off and just overall the glove just fell apart quickly. Now, the only reason why I don't take what a lot of my teammates say seriously is because, not to throw my whole team under the bus, they don't take care of their gear that great. They always wonder why things are falling apart and they leave it at the gym in their locker overnight. It's like, I wonder why. I take everything home, dry it out, make sure it's clean, careful. So these gloves have lasted great for me. But I put these through what I would call a time test, which is basically, if you're a fan of the channel, you know what that is. I am a professional MMA fighter, so I'm in the gym 5 to 6 days a week, smashing bags, pads, sparring, wrestling, grappling, whatever it might be, doing strength and conditioning in these. I want to make sure that they could last the beating that I need to put them through. And that's basically the idea behind these gloves here. And I did that over the last 2 months. I used them every single day, and I've really enjoyed using these gloves. To give you a little bit of a spoiler there, I've really enjoyed using these gloves. But with that said, guys, RDX is a brand I don't know if I've really reviewed on the channel. You see me hit some RDX gloves, RDX bags at our gym, because we got some RDX bags at our MMA gym, and they are really good bags. But these gloves are actually some of the most favored amateur competition gloves that you see in Europe. In fact, this year, IMAF, which is International MMA Amateur Federation, I believe, which is basically the Olympics or the World Championships, I guess you could say, for amateur MMA competition, RDX actually took over from Greenhill, which is another European brand, for their gear this year. So if you go on IMAF on Instagram, you can watch some of their cool highlights. On YouTube, you can watch some of their cool highlights. Really, really cool to see that RDX uses gloves that look like these, and these are actually the official fight glove for the Swedish Amateur MMA Association, which is really cool. Speaking of Swedish athletes that they have, such as Hamzat Chimaev, although he is from Chechnya, he resides in Sweden as well. Hamzat Chimaev is signed to RDX, as well as Michael Chandler at one point, Tony Ferguson, and then also you have a newly signed Leon Edwards, as this brand is primarily based, I believe, in London. And to speak about the United Kingdom and London in general, you can talk about Ricky Hatton, who I don't know for sure. I believe he helped start RDX, or he's one of the co-founders, because everything he uses, whether it be mitts with his son, whether it be hitting the bags, his training equipment that he uses as far as like apparel goes, and on top of it, his fight gloves that he used in his exhibition with Marco Antonio Rivera. He uses RDX equipment. Everything that you see, he uses RDX equipment. So I don't know if he's like the first athlete that's like sponsored by that or something, or if he helped start it. I think he helped start it in some way or the other. But overall, really, really cool that Ricky Hatton, even at his age, I always get inspired watching his stuff. He's just working his butt off, which is awesome, in his mid-40s, almost 50. If you're not aware of Ricky Hatton, go Google some of his fights. He's fought some of the best in the world, and really his only 2 losses. He had 3 losses, but the only 2 losses that everyone really counts is to Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, which there's no shame in losing to those 2 guys. Very entertaining, big brawler, awesome fighter. But at the end of the day, RDX, big European brand. I'd call them like the Sanibel of Europe, big time. Now, when we come to these gloves and talk about the model that I have. I got them in the extra large size. You can get them in small, medium, large, and extra large. And you can also get them in the red and blue and black coloration, which is really cool. And that obviously goes for the red corner and blue corner in fights. I have seen these in person be used for amateur fights because actually they have a deal with a local promotion called Cage Wars. I actually helped set that deal up, which was cool. I bought these gloves. They weren't sent to me. I'm not cool with RDX like that. I just helped form a relationship somehow. It was pure luck, I swear. But basically, you can get them in a couple different colors, couple different sizes, and of course with MMA gloves, hook and loop closure, because no one wants laces for MMA gloves, let's be real. But at the end of the day, these gloves come in a couple different options, 4 different size options, a couple different color options, and I think they do have a couple different colors when it comes to a few of their other MMA gloves out there. I would like to see more colors added to these. Like if they had an orange version of this, I'd be absolutely thrilled. I want to say they had a pink version once upon a time. I had a female teammate that had a pink version of these, or maybe it was just a pink version of another pair of RDX gloves. But either way, I think they came out with more colorations. I went with the yellow because it reminds me of a NASCAR. RDX is very like popping graphics on all of their stuff, and it looks very cool. But in general, these gloves I got, once again, extra large size, black and red, this is red, black and yellow coloration. When we go into the look of the glove, as you can see on the back here, it is once again that black and yellow coloration. The black side has big white lettering that says RDX, and for me it looks like one of those like motorcycle companies. I don't know what any motorcycle brand is called, but it just looks like a big, like, look, this is like a cool race car or cool motorcycle or you know, bike type thing. And I believe RDX is like a bike brand somewhere too, which is funny. It's kind of like Hayabusa actually is a bike brand too, but it has that nice popping colors coming out here, and it stays right on there. It's like sublimated into the artificial leather that you're going to throw out here, and the black shines really good. The yellow has a signature on it, and to be honest, I couldn't tell you who the signature is. I didn't really see it on the website. It has one black signature, one white signature there, and then you have like a nice hot mustard color going throughout here. And I like that mustard yellow. Some people don't. They think it looks bad. I think it looks pretty good. The piping across the entirety of the glove is all black, as you can see here. The fingers are all black, and then the interior lining has RDX all the way throughout it, making a cool little triangular grid, and I like how that looks, and it feels good too. The thumb is black as well the piping down here, and when you open the glove, you can see that the palm is also entirely white. It's a nice ice white, a very, very solid white going throughout there, though I will say it does stain pretty easily. And then actually the Velcro is white here. Some brands really don't do that. And then on the other side, the Velcro is black. You have very small Velcro patches, but it goes throughout there. It's a very uniform glove. And then you also have a small black Velcro patch here, black Velcro patch here, and then on this part it says GGR T6Y, which I don't really know what the GGR stands for, but you have a really, you can see it right there, you have a really cool RDX rubber patch going throughout there. It has a black background and rubber, and it also has the white and rubber too. It looks really nice, and like I said, it GGR T6Y. I don't know why it says the Y at the end, because I know it's not a youth size, but T6 is right there, and then GGR, I really don't know what that stands for, to be honest. I didn't see it on the website what it might stand for. It just said what the model was, and that's what it was. So if you know what GGR or the Y at the end of T6 stand for, please let me know. But at the end of the day, the glove looks really cool. I will say that. Most of RDX stuff looks very cool. It's a very uniform, smooth looking glove. They actually have something called Novatech, which isn't in this glove, but it's like a completely smoothed out leather. There's no wrinkles in it, which is really cool. In this case, you don't have that. There are wrinkles here. But when we talk about the build of the glove, the entire outer shell is made out of what they call their Maya hide leather, which some people, especially when they're new to the sport, might get really confused about. When you hear Maya hide leather, it's not real leather. It's actually a pleather. It's a fake man-made vinyl, basically, but it's a very durable man-made vinyl. It's actually pretty thick, really thick and flexible, which for MMA is perfect because you want it to be flexible for when you drag across the mat, for when you're getting in between positions. You don't want it to crease and rip because leather is very, stationary. It doesn't like to move in certain places because, like skin, once it rips, it's gone. Whereas this case, you can make it as flexible as you want. And if I pull a piece of the padding or the outer shell off here, you can see I can move it very flexibly, which is good. And then it just smooths right back out, which is very, very nice. I like how that looks, and it is very smooth throughout the entirety of the glove. The whole glove is made out of that from the wrist strap all the way to the piping. However, the one part that is different is you have that rubber patch going throughout here, which isn't rough at all. It doesn't bother my skin, you know, unless I'm like doing this as fast as I can, but any material will do that. You know, that's basically the idea behind the glove there. As far as the Maya hide leather, they call it. It's, once again, it's a vinyl, but that rubber patch is really the only part of the glove that's not that. The rest of the glove, as you can see, is actually split down the middle, and I think that's more or less to stitch the different colors on the different type of colored Maya hide going throughout there. And you can see it has a really nice cool look to it, that split. I don't know if you can really see the stitching on the camera. It's very faint. You can see it a little bit on the yellow side, but you have single line stitching going throughout there. And the single line stitching also is throughout the entirety of the glove, even on the outside here. The stitching for me, you know, some of my teammates complain about the stitching being weak. For the whole of the glove so far, the stitching holds up really well, especially when it comes to like the thumb throughout here. The stitching is very, very good. So I really wanted to touch on that. And the stitching is good throughout the base here. You can see the black stitch going throughout there. Now, when we talk about the padding, it is your door hinge style knuckle, which is good. And it is a very nice padding. It's basically a multi-layered foam that a lot of boxing gloves use, but they put it in the MMA glove, and I really love how this works because a lot of other MMA gloves don't have that type of feel to it. It's a very medium soft, winning-esque style of foam composition in an MMA sparring glove, which feels really good because the other gloves primarily use a IMF Tech foam, which is your injected molded foam. This is a multi-layered foam padding that you got throughout this. I'm not going to say it's as good as padding as winning. That's not what I'm trying to say, but that multi-layered high-density foam is what you get. And it's like a medium soft, I'd say. You know, it's not very firm. It breaks in very easily. When you first get it out of the box, it's still pretty soft too. I even mentioned that it was decently soft compared to some other gloves out there. It still took a little bit to break in, you know, a couple rounds, and it broke in very well. And you also have that same padding basically on the back here. As you can see a little wrist bar here, and that's for good wrist support, which is good. And once again, you have that nice door hinge knuckle, so you can really open and close your fist nice and easy. Now, when we come to the thumb, you can see that we have two rubber patches here. It's just basically EVA foam to guard the outside of your thumb, and it feels pretty good. And I like how that feels, and it conforms to your hand really well. And when I open the glove up here, you can see we have a very long wrist strap, which offers good wrist support. And you can see that this is kind of like a Y strap, which is what I call it. You got a Y strap going throughout here because here's the base of the Y. There's a Y there. There's a Y there. So what that does is it connects your wrist to this part of the hand very well. And when you close it, it encompasses your entire hand very easy, and it also allows free mobility of your thumb from the rest of the glove, so it makes one natural fist. So you can see that this part, if we were to take away the entire white part of the glove, it would just be the back of the glove here, this part here. When I have this here, what that does is it allows my thumb and my wrist to move independently from my knuckles. So it basically works just like my hand. Everything is separate, so I'm able to move my hand like this, really make a nice grip, nice fist, nice natural fist on the inside of this glove. The interior lining, it had some special name for it, but all I can tell you, it is a very comfortable, soft, smooth interior lining. And like I said, it has all the RDX logos on it, and it has that dry fit pillow material that I talk about a lot. It's like a poly cotton type of like satin stretch material that I like going over this. It feels really, really good on my fingers, and it's very easy to smooth it, slide right in. Now, the one thing I do see what my teammates were talking about, because I have seen this in person, some of the Velcro straps are very weakly stitched on there. You can kind of see these parts are like lifted up a bit. Maybe I can find the black part. That way it's a little bit easier to see. Yes. So you can see that the corners of the Velcro are like coming up like that a little bit. And I can definitely see over time, they have definitely weakened over the last 2 months, so I can definitely see myself having to restitch them in time. Some of the stitching has popped out slightly, but if you take good care of the glove, it will be okay, especially if you're not constantly ripping them on and off like 10 times throughout practice like some people do. I don't. Once they're on, they're on. They do loosen up a little bit, but if you strap them up right, they'll loosen up right to the perfect spot. But right here, the little tiny Velcro patches, what I do wish is that the Velcro patch weren't so little. Maybe they're doing that so the glove's not stiff towards the bottom, but I prefer it to be like a 3-finger strap there. I think the moment that happens, you're not going to see the stitching fall off because it's such a big surface, you know, and it's going to work very well there. But overall, it straps very good to the hand. Now, when I put my hand on the inside, the fingers, like I said, it slides right in. It's a natural fist very easily, and it's very comfortable right off the bat. And I can just make a nice solid fist there. There's no tug, there's no pull or anything, just boom, right there. And then the wrist straps very, very good. And my wrist feels nice and secure. And the other good part about this is, like I said, you have that bar on the back that protects my metacarpals, my metatarsals, the things that like to break, pop, and explode upwards like that, stop it that way. Once again, as you can see, my thumb is completely independent from the rest of my hand. If I close this, completely independent. It's not forcing it in at all, and my wrist is still free for mobility, and none of the Velcro, the hard part, like the hard part of the Velcro is coming out. Some of the soft part here, but that's not going to bother or scrape a partner at all, which feels really good. Like I said, look at how easy my hand can open and close. Boom, nice tight fist, and look how it lines my hand up. Perfect shot right there to punch right in there, which is always good. The only thing that I have seen with these gloves in amateur competition also is you see how these knuckles are exposed a little bit. I have seen some smart, but yet it is kind of illegal moves, basically to hit you with bare knuckles, is they'll go for a straight right hand and swipe it down. There's tons of trades and secrets. But when you come here, boop, 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 you hear that? It's nice and hard. I can knock with that. It's a plastic table, so you can't really hear the knock, but like, you can hit with that part of your knuckle here. So what I wish this glove did just a little bit, and although I won't complain a whole lot about it, because it would be hard to do that unless you were forcefully trying to cheat. I will say that. It lines up good with your knuckle. Maybe curve this down just a touch more, so it would basically be impossible to lift that up. But it is right there, and it does guide my knuckles very easily into targets. Overall, very mobile fingers. The only thing is that because it does overhang a little bit, your fingers are limited as far as going really far up unless they are uniform to move the glove up with you. But overall, S grips are pretty good in these gloves. They're not, I will say the S grips actually was the one thing I did struggle with a little bit because they do overhang kind of in that S shape. Gable grips are fine, right? Your bar, butterfly grips, whatever you like to call them, are fine. These grips with virtually every MMA glove, your basket grips are really, you know, you don't really like that grip in general. But overall, I'd say your favorite grip in this glove would definitely be Gable grip, pound-to-palm Gable grip here. But let's go ahead and go into the bag work so that you can see these gloves in action. So far, they're very comfortable. Let's see them in action, and we'll come back with my final thoughts. So going into hitting the bag with these gloves, like I said, they feel like an awesome bag mitt that you get for boxing and stuff. Cradles your knuckles so well, has very nice recoil padding on it, so you get a nice puncher's feel to it, and they just are so forward punching that you get such a nice feel. You can really wail into the bag with these as hard as you want, which is why I'm really demonstrating that there. Overall, very light, feel very comfortable when you punch, and overall, just a great glove for the bags and pads. So as you can see here, you got that awesome yellow and black coloration. Like I said, the S grips are kind of weird because of the overhang palm or overhang knuckles, but the palm-to-palm grip are so good. Bar grips, wrist grips, goes under the neck and armpits really easy. And overall, the gloves just look sharp. They look cool. I think they look like a race car, and you know, probably my my childish mind is telling me that since it looks like a race car, I want it. But basically, they look really cool. They operate really well. Overall, you got a really nice pair of gloves designed by RDX. I really like how they look. I think you will too. All right, folks, so my final thoughts here for the RDX T6 MMA Sparring gloves. I actually loved using these gloves. I really don't see some of the complaints that some of my teammates were making or some other complaints that I saw. Maybe I got the best constructed pair on the market. But what I will say is, for the price point of these gloves and for the way that they performed and the durability of the gloves so far, I have every answer that I really need for these gloves. First off, if you were wondering, the price is about $40 for these, although you can get them off a couple other websites. I saw them for $30, I saw them for $40, I saw them for $35. A couple different websites wherever you like to shop. I saw right on RDX's website was $37, but on Walmart I saw them for $31, I think, and stuff like that. So you can get them from your favorite retailers as well. If you like shopping through Walmart or Amazon, they are available on that. They are available right on RDX's website as well. And RDX always has a nice deal on their website too, which is why I like to shop directly through the consumer if I can. But I was really happy with these gloves for that price, because I think they are fairly priced at that point. I think 35 to 40 bucks are perfect for what you get. I definitely think there are some gloves out there that are 60 or more dollars that don't work quite as well as these. But let's go ahead and talk about the glove in general, and we'll talk about what I like versus what I didn't like. Let's talk about what I liked. The knuckle protection and the wrist support that you get with this glove is absolutely astonishing, and it is really, really good for the price that you get. For one, the knuckle padding, like I said, unlike a lot of gloves that just use that standard multi-layered foam padding, like one of my favorite gloves of all time that I talk about all the time when we talk about my Combat Sports Max Strike, it's just that IMF Tech foam with some other stuff. And although those gloves are great, I do like when some gloves use the same type of padding that you get in a boxing glove in an MMA glove. And although it's not as thick as those, it protects you just as well as those. And it feels like you're using a very well-formed bag mitt, which I absolutely love. But hitting the bags in these, although some people will tell you not to use MMA sparring gloves for bag or mitt work, I love using these gloves for bags. They feel just like a well-constructed boxing bag mitt. I think these are better than some actual professional level bag mitts out there. They feel really good for my knuckles. The long wrist strap feels absolutely great for wrist support, and it fits on your hand. Not to use that cliche, but to fit your hand like a glove. It just forms to your fist so well. It feels really, really good. It feels awesome. The interior lining feels good, and you just have a nice form-fitting fist. Your fingers are independent. The finger straps are nice and comfortable. Everything about the glove just fits well, and it just feels secure. And I see why a lot of European amateur promotions use these for an amateur fight glove. Absolutely. Now, with that said, I can see them used for an amateur fight glove. Would I say I'd use these for strictly sparring? I have, and they work well, but I will say they are about as padded as an amateur fight glove, and they are still not nearly as padded as, say, your Combat Sports Max Strike, or they're not as padded as, say, these new Yokows that were released, right? These are very big and padded. Or we can talk about Engage, your Combat Corner gloves. All these gloves out there are very thick and rounded compared to these gloves. They are a little bit more flat, and they're not quite as padded as far as your sparring partner's protection. Can you use them in MMA sparring? Yes, and I'm not saying this as a brag. I know I do hit harder than most, but I will say when I use these in MMA sparring, I found that I was hurting my sparring partners more than I would have liked to, using the same style of pressure that you're using in sparring compared to, say, a puffier MMA sparring glove. These definitely land a little bit more flush, they land a little bit more sharp, and they do hurt quite a bit more to get hit with, although they are much more comfortable than some of those gloves. But that's the thing, sometimes we sacrifice just comfort and overall things such as those lines to keep us safe and to keep our sparring partners safe. So I did notice that using these gloves, and in fact some of my teammates asked me why I was hitting harder and asked if they had done something wrong to irritate me, which no, that wasn't the case at all. It was simply the shape of the glove definitely is a great amateur MMA fight glove in that way. I do think this is the ideal amateur MMA fight glove design. I would love every amateur MMA promotion to use a fight glove like this, because it is still safer than, say, using something along the lines of like your Everlast Power Lock, or even a professional RDX MMA fight glove, which is obviously much thinner than this. So that is a complaint I do have as far as that goes, is that they are safe to spar in, but still be wary. They are definitely a lot more replicated after a fight glove than a lot of other MMA sparring gloves out there, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not the best if you want to protect your partners. As far as other things I didn't like about the glove, not a whole lot. I do think that they are durable, but I do wish that the wrist straps, because I can definitely tell that they are going to start falling off, and I'm going to have to restitch them. The Velcro here is already flaking off towards the corner. It's flaking off towards the corner here as well, so I got to get that fixed eventually so it doesn't rip off entirely, because I have seen my teammates' gloves after prolonged use where the thin Velcro straps and the thin Velcro pieces are right throughout there, and it just doesn't feel like they're going to last forever. So durability as far as the Velcro goes is a concern. I'd probably give it about 6 to 7 months in a lot of cases before you see them really start to pop off. So just be mindful of that. Clean your gear so they don't fall apart. The other thing I will say is that these gloves maintain odor very easily. If you sweat a lot after your first session, I will say, like, for one, the Maya hide has a very strong artificial chemical scent to it, which you're not going to fault the brand for, because that's just what it's made out of, because it is a synthetic man-made leather. But the interior lining, when it mixes with sweat, when it mixes with, sweat and, other like materials and whatnot, and then it mixes with the smell of your mats and your sparring partner sweat or your partner sweat in general when you grapple, the gloves do stink a lot, and they do actually take a little bit to clean. I clean my gloves, these, every day. I spray down with something to kill the scent because it smells bad almost immediately, which is not the biggest complaint in the world. Doesn't affect the function of the glove at all. It's a little annoying if you don't like smelly gear. I know I don't. And that's basically what I would say. And I found that to be the case with a lot of RDX gear in general, is that their lining, although very comfortable, one of the best linings I use at MMA Sparring gloves, just kind of smell bad after a bit. So just make sure you maintain that. If you don't like bad odors, they do smell pretty quickly. But besides that, the only other thing is that really if you're a grappler and you utilize S-grips a lot, as you saw in my bag work, the S-grips aren't really great. And you can even see if I have this glove on, let's see here, and then I go here, you can definitely see how like this part of the glove overlaps to my palm. So if I had the big glove on, it's going to fall apart. Not fall apart, sorry. It's going to... it's going to break the grip apart a little bit. So you kind of have to curve your S-grip in. One of my favorite grips is like a classic 3-finger grip. If you're a fan of New Melanson, you've seen this. It actually works pretty good in these gloves where you can get this 3-finger grip here in it. You can turn really easy with your elbows in that grip with these gloves on. I was actually surprised by that because I love that 3-finger grip going on here. But overall, glove is comfortable. I think it's pretty durable. I think with these gloves for $40, they are very good priced. If you take good care of them, I think the padding, although you will see bubbling, as there is like maybe one bubble. Yeah, right there. One bubble right there towards the tip where the R is. That's natural with that type of padding. It's going to happen. It's not gonna be the worst thing. But I think these gloves, if you use them for everything between sparring, bag work, pads, wrestling, everything in your daily training, expect a good 1.5 to 2 years out of these gloves, which is not a bad investment. Most of these gloves for that price point are built for that, though I do think a good solid 2 years is what you can look forward to if you take care of them. Just understand you might have to ask someone that knows how to stitch stuff. You might want to get some Velcro strips. You can buy them right at Walmart or Joann's Fabrics or something, and just get your own Velcro strips, because that's probably where I'm going to go in another month or two if I go back to using these, which I really do think I'm going to, because I really, really love hitting the bags in these. I absolutely love the feedback with these gloves. But really, those are my only complaints. It's just a couple little durability issues there, and for a pure sparring glove, I do think that there are better options for safety out there. But that's about it. I think it's the best design that you can get for maybe an amateur MMA fight glove. With that said, guys, my rating for these gloves, I'm going to give them a generous 9 out of 10. Because I really do enjoy the gloves so far. I think they're going to be very good. If I had to give them like a tier system, I know I forget the tiers in some of my videos. I basically go, F tier is really bad, they're horrible. D tiers are not great. C tier, they're average. B tier, they're good. A, they're great. S, they're excellent. I give these like an A+. They're a very good glove. I think they're awesome. I don't put them in the S because that's more safe for like your high top professional gloves out there, although these do a very good job. But I still give them a good shelf life of like 1.5 to 2 years if you take care of them, though I could see them lasting less than that depending on how you take care of your gear. Always make sure you clean your gear when you get home. Take them out of your bag, let them air out. They do maintain an odor pretty bad, which I don't like, but overall it doesn't affect the function of the glove. You just make sure you spray that out with a disinfecting spray, or use some of your favorite dryer sheets, use some laundry sanitizer, spray that into the fabric, rub it around. It works really well. But overall, these gloves fit and feel awesome. Very natural form fitting fist. Love using the bags and pads with these. Get an awesome crack off the bags with them. Give them a nice, little puncher's feel. Very, very good padding. I love how they use like a boxing style of padding for an MMA sparring glove. It works really well. But like I said, for me, for an MMA sparring glove, I prefer the bigger, rounded, puffy gloves to protect my sparring partners, whereas these feel like they are curved flush to really kind of put someone out. Great MMA amateur fight glove for me. I think if you're an amateur MMA promoter and these are approved in your commission in your state, I would get these for your fights. I really would, because they are absolutely awesome. They fit well. You can put your hand wraps in really well. I think RDX did an absolutely outstanding job with these gloves. So guys, with that said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope I answered some of your questions if you were looking into these gloves. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below, as I always love to read your comments, and let me know what you want to see reviewed next. As always too, like and subscribe. They're the two little buttons at the bottom of the video. It might be a small click for you, but it is a big step for this channel, and it means a lot to me. Also, check out my social media pages so you can message me. You can even email me. I try to respond to all of them as often as I can, although sometimes Instagram does not always give me the notifications, and it puts you in the spam folder for some reason. So eventually I will get to you. Just give me some time. But guys, I so appreciate you watching this review and supporting the channel. We're already at like 7,400 subscribers, which is absolutely awesome. I love you guys for that. It really keeps me going every day. So with that said, thank you so much for watching this video. And as always, I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.